The crystal chandeliers of the Langford Regency Hotel reflected over polished marble floors as Elena Hartley balanced 3 champagne flutes on a silver tray. Her black server uniform itched, her feet ached, and after 5 hours weaving through Manhattan's elite, she had become skilled at being invisible. Tonight felt different. The annual Langford Foundation Charity Gala was underway, and paintings she could only dream of creating were selling for 6 figures. From the sidelines, she watched women in gowns worth more than her yearly rent. There, laughter blending with deals made over expensive scotch. Elena. Table 9. Refill. Don't drop anything, said Marcia, the head server, with military urgency. Elena adjusted her tray and slipped back into the crowd. She'd learned to block out the endless chatter of power and money. But one sentence reached her. Archer Blackwell's behind the Halston deal. That man's a ghost until he wants to. Strike. The name made her look up. Archer Blackwell, the reclusive tech mogul, whose face never smiled on Forbes. Near the stage, the crowd shifted. A tall man in a sharp black tuxedo cut through the room, drawing attention with every step. Even from across the ballroom, there was something about him that silenced conversation. As she approached table 9, a passing server bumped her arm. Her tray tipped. She lunged to save it, but the glasses slid and she stumbled forward. The tray hit the floor. She slammed into the man in the tuxedo with full force. Her arms flew around his neck, his hands caught her waist. For a moment, they were locked in what looked like an embrace. Her face hovered inches from his, close enough. To see the silver in his gray eyes, camera flashes exploded. People gasped. He didn't flinch. She barely breathed. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Don't move," he said. His voice was low, controlled, and made her freeze. His eyes didn't leave hers. The grip on her waist didn't loosen. A security guard stepped in. "Sir, are you all right?" "We're fine," the man answered, his tone smooth. Elena's stomach dropped. She recognized him now. "You're Archer Blackwell." A faint smile touched his lips. "And you are Elena Hartley. I'm probably about to get fired for tackling you with champagne?" "That would be unfortunate," he replied. She tried to step back, but his hand stayed firm. "Mr. Blackwell," she said, "people are staring." "Let them," he said. "Tell me, Elena Hartley, what do you do when you're not knocking over billionaires?" She blinked. "An artist, or trying to be. Right now I serve champagne to people wearing my rent on their wrists." "What kind of art?" "Urban cityscapes, oils, acrylics." He looked at her longer than expected, like he was memorizing her face. A woman appeared beside them. Blonde, elegant, furious. "Archer, what is going on?" It was Vanessa Preska. Her sharp blue eyes took in Elena's uniform, her position, her hands still on Archer's shoulders. "Just an accident," Archer said. "Cooler now." "Accident," Vanessa repeated, voice flat. "How quaint." Elena didn't flinch. "I was working. I accidentally discovered billionaires have excellent balance." Archer looked almost amused. Vanessa didn't. "We should return to the auction," Vanessa snapped. "The Worthington piece is next." In a moment, Archer said, "I find this conversation enlightening." Elena glanced toward the service station. Marcia was standing there in shock. "I need to get back. My supervisor's probably preparing my termination letter." "Actually," Archer said, then turned to the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," his voice cut through the room, "meet Elena Hartley, my girlfriend." The room erupted. Elena froze. "What?" she whispered. Vanessa's face drained of color. "Archer, what are you doing?" She hissed. "Introducing my girlfriend," he repeated. "We've been private until now, but I believe it's time." Reporters typed. Cameras flashed again. Archer held Elena's hand. "Just follow my lead," he said. Elena stared at him, unable to process what had just happened. 20 minutes ago, she was blending into the background. Now, Archer Blackwell, the coldest, most powerful tech billionaire in America, had just introduced her to the world as his girlfriend. Vanessa stood frozen, lips parted, eyes locked on Archer's hand around Elena's waist. "We'll talk later," Vanessa said tightly. "Of course," Archer replied. "Lena and I were just leaving." Before Elena could speak, he guided her through the crowd. nodding politely at the cameras. People whispered. Phones recorded. Every step felt like a dream she couldn't wake from. Once they reached the hotel lobby, he finally released her. Stepped back, overwhelmed. "What just happened?" she asked, heart racing. "You told an entire ballroom I was your girlfriend." "Call me Archer," he said. "And you just saved me from a complicated situation." She narrowed her eyes. "What kind of situation?" He ran a hand through his hair, the first sign of stress. "Vanessa and I have history. Our families have been pushing for a merger, one that includes marriage. Tonight was supposed to be the soft launch of our engagement. Supposed to be," Elena repeated. "I've been delaying it for months. You gave me the perfect excuse to stop it cold. So, without asking, you made me your fake girlfriend?" "I apologize for the surprise," Archer said. "But you crashed into me. I made the best of an unexpected opportunity." She shook her head. "Do you realize what this means? Those photos are probably already online. My life's going to explode. Which is why I'd like to make you an offer." Lena stared. "What kind of offer? Have dinner with me tomorrow night? Let me explain everything properly. We might be able to help each other." Her phone buzzed. A message from Marcia. "Get back here now. Mr. Langston wants to see you." "I have to go," she said. "You're definitely firing me." "I'll take care of it," Archer said, already pulling out his phone. "What's your supervisor's name?" Marcia Klein. But really he ignored her. "Mr. Langston, Archer Blackwell here. I'm calling regarding Elena Hartley. She was involved in a situation at tonight's event that I'd consider ... a favor to me. I'd like her recognized for her professionalism." Elena watched him, speechless. He hung up and turned to her. Problem solved. "You're getting a raise and a promotion to the premium event team."
"How did you—" "Money talks," he said, "and I have plenty of it." Elena blinked, stunned. "This is happening too fast. I need time."
He handed her a sleek black card. "My personal number. Call me tomorrow. We'll discuss terms." Their fingers brushed. She felt something electric. "I'm not the villain in this story, Elena," he said. "Then who is?" He glanced back toward the ballroom that remains to be seen. As he walked away, shoes tapping against the marble, Elena stood clutching his card, trying to process what had just happened. In half an hour, she'd gone from anonymous server to the fake girlfriend of one of the richest men in the world. Her phone buzzed against social media notifications this time. The photos were already online. Headlines screamed her name. "Elena Hartley," she whispered, staring at her reflection in the glass door. "What have you gotten yourself into?" But somewhere underneath the panic, there was something else. Something that felt dangerously close to excitement. Elena woke to the sharp buzz of her phone. Morning light poured into her cramped studio apartment. Brushing across half-finished canvases and the wrinkled sheets she hadn't had the energy to fix, she grabbed her phone. 17 missed calls, 43 texts, notifications from every social media account she'd forgotten she had. Her heart dropped. A message from Grace, her best friend since college. "Elena Marie Hartley. Call me right now. You're on the front page of the New York Post." She opened her news app. Tech Titan's secret love revealed. Archer Blackwell goes public with mystery girlfriend below it. A high-resolution photo of her wrapped in Archer's arms. Her green eyes caught the light like gemstones, and her hair looked artfully tousled instead of windblown. She looked happy. He looked like he'd always known her. Her phone rang. "Hello?" she answered, barely above a whisper. "Good morning." "Beautiful." Archer's voice was warm, rich, too casual for the chaos he'd caused. "I trust you've seen the papers." "I'm currently staring at myself on a screen viewed by half the internet," she said. "This is surreal." "Welcome to my world," he replied. "How are you holding up?" "I haven't left my apartment. I'm pretty sure there are photographers outside." "There are," he said. "I'm sending a car. Be ready in an hour." "A car? Where are we going?" "Brunch. My penthouse. We need to talk privately." "Archer, I've been thinking we should just tell the truth. Say it was a misunderstanding." "We could," he said. "But that would be a waste of a perfectly good opportunity." "Opportunity for what?" "Come to brunch. Find out." Then he hung up. Elena stared at the phone. It was arrogant, high-handed, and everything she wasn't. But part of her was curious. The part that remembered how he'd looked at her like she wasn't invisible. An hour later, dressed in her best navy blue dress and boots that had seen better days, she stepped into a black town car. The driver didn't speak. The building they arrived at wasn't just expansive, it was another world. A private keycard elevator opened directly into his penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Central Park. The interior was quiet, elegance, gray tones, glass lines, abstract art, and the scent of fresh coffee. "It's beautiful," Elena said. "Too controlled?" Archer asked, walking in from the kitchen, in jeans and a white button-down. His sleeves were rolled, his hair slightly messy. He looked unfairly good. "It's very you," she replied. He smiled and led her to the dining area. Brunch was already laid out: croissants, fruit, smoked salmon, and French press coffee. "Before we eat," he said, handing her a tablet, "you should see this." Every major news site had picked up their story. Headlines varied, some romantic, some scandalous, all viral. From server to society, Elena Hartley and the Billionaire. No one could touch New York's most eligible bachelor off the market, the real-life Cinderella. The stock went up 12%, Archer said. "Investors are thrilled. Why does your dating life affect your stock price?" "Stability. For years, I've been brilliant but unpredictable. A serious relationship makes me appear grounded, and that's the goal?" she asked. "It's part of it." A sat down, expression shifting. "After my father died, I inherited more than a company. I inherited 30,000 employees. The board still doesn't trust me. Because you're young? Because I'm 30 and they're 70. They want someone with a family, a traditional image. Someone married to the right woman? Someone like Vanessa?" He didn't answer, but the way his jaw tensed was enough. "They wanted me to marry into the Prescott family. She's perfect, on paper, polished, connected, obedient. A merger disguised as a wedding. But I won't marry for strategy. I'll marry for love." Elena didn't respond right away. His words lingered. "So, where do I fit into this?" He leaned forward. "You're not Vanessa. You're not polished or from a legacy family. You're real, independent. You didn't ask for anything when you realized who I was. You just worried about getting fired?" She swallowed. "What are you proposing? A partnership?" he said. "Pretend to be my girlfriend for 6 months. Attend events. Dinners. Be seen. Convince the board I'm in a stable relationship. In return, I'll pay you $50,000. We'll also set you up with introductions to collectors, curators, and provide a studio space. You can finally focus on your art." Elena froze. "50,000? He nodded. "More than enough. To solve your current financial problems, and enough time for me to buy space to breathe. What would this involve? In public, we act the part. Appearances, affection, social functions, but in private, no pretense. Total honesty. If one of us wants to walk away before 6 months, we end it. No drama. No tricks." Lena stood, walked toward the windows, and stared at the skyline. For years of struggle in this city, all to keep creating while surviving. She was tired of invisible jobs and invisible dreams. "Why me?" she asked quietly. "You could have picked anyone. When you crashed into me, you looked at me like I was a person. Not a billionaire, not a prize, just a man falling backward." Paused, and you stood up to Vanessa without blinking. "That was adrenaline," she said. "Or courage." She turned to face him. "If I agree, I have conditions. Name them. 1. Total honesty. No manipulation." "Agreed." 2. I keep my independence. I'm not your possession. Wouldn't want you to be. 3. If this ends early, we walk away clean." He stood and extended a hand. "Do we have a deal?" She stared at it. One handshake would change her entire world. "One more thing." She said, "What if we fall for each other?" His expression turned serious. "Then we'll deal with it when it happens." Lena reached out and took his hand. "Deal." And just like that, she stepped into a world of luxury, lies, and a man she should never fall for. but something told her it might already be too late. 3 months into the arrangement, Elena had mastered the role of Archer Blackwell's devoted girlfriend. She attended charity lunches, gallery openings, and formal galas with effortless poise. The public adored her. Fashion blogs praised her transformation. Society magazines called her mysterious, elegant, grounded. At night she returned to the art studio Archer had arranged for her on the top floor of a converted warehouse in Soho. For the first time in years, she painted freely, without fear of eviction, bills, or silence. Her work flourished, just like Archer had predicted. What she hadn't expected was how easy it would be to care about him. He wasn't the cold, ruthless man the media described. He remembered people's names. From CEOs to janitors, he donated anonymously to scholarship funds for underprivileged students. He still called his grandmother every Sunday, and when they were alone, away from cameras, he was funny. Disarmingly intelligent, quietly thoughtful, he noticed when she was overwhelmed and handed her a warm cup of tea without speaking. He asked about her art with genuine interest. Didn't try to impress her. He listened tonight. They walked the sculpture garden at the Museum of Modern Art. The gala was winding down. Inside, the city's elite buzzed with champagne and networking. Out here, it was quiet. "You're distracted," Archer said, watching her. "I'm thinking," Elena replied. "About what?" She hesitated. "About how strange this all is. 3 months ago, I was counting coins for groceries. Now I'm wearing a dress worth more than my car, pretending to be in love with the most photographed man in America. Do you miss your old life?" "Parts of it. Simplicity, mostly. Back then, I only worried about surviving. I worry about saying the wrong thing and hurting your image, about paparazzi catching me without makeup, about—" She stopped herself. "About what?" "About what happens when this ends." Archer didn't answer right away. He stopped beside a bronze statue, his hands in his coat pockets. She could feel the weight of his gaze. "Elena," he said quietly, "there's something I need to tell you." His phone buzzed. He checked it, and his jaw clenched. "We need to go." "What happened?" "Vanessa just called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning." She stopped walking. "Why?" "She's making a move." "I don't know what kind yet, but she wouldn't act without a plan." They returned to the penthouse in silence. Elena had learned enough about corporate politics to understand that Vanessa never acted without reason. If she was calling the board, she had leverage. "What can she do?" Elena asked as he poured a drink in the kitchen. "That depends on what she knows," he said, setting down the glass. "She's been too quiet since we went public. That's not like her. You think she knows about our arrangement?" "I think she's been digging, and I think she found something." A chill crept up Elena's spine. "She wants to expose you," she said. "She wants to control the narrative. If she proves our relationship is fake, the board will demand." "My resignation?" "What are you going to do?" "I'll handle it," Archer said, though his tone lacked certainty. He looked tired. Elena watched him from across the room. He had always appeared invincible, untouchable. But tonight, she saw the cracks beneath the surface. The pressure, the exhaustion, the loneliness. And she realized something that terrified her. She didn't want this to end. Not the contract, not the lie, not him. The next morning arrived, gray and heavy, matching the pressure in Elena's chest. She dressed in silence, her thoughts spinning as she scrolled through her phone. No new headlines dash yet. Archer had already left by sunrise. He'd kissed her forehead before walking out, a gesture that felt more like protection than performance. She stood in the middle of her Soho studio, surrounded by half-finished canvases and unopened boxes of supplies. She was reviewing a delivery list when her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello, Elena Hartley." Calm male voice. "This is Nathan Cross. I'm a journalist with the New York Herald. I was hoping we could meet for coffee." "I don't do interviews without my publicist," she said instantly, repeating the line Archer's PR team had drilled into her. "This isn't about an interview," Nathan said. "It's about Vanessa Prescotand, what she's planning to reveal at today's board meeting." Elena's hand tightened around the phone. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I've been investigating corporate marriages for 6 months," Nathan continued. arrangements made to manipulate stock, secure mergers, or elevate public image. I have documents suggesting your relationship with Archer Blackwell isn't what it appears. That's absurd, she said, though her voice betrayed her. Meet me at Caf Luna in an hour. If I'm wrong, walk away. But if I'm right, you need to hear what Vanessa's about to do. The line went dead. An hour later, Elena sat across from Nathan at a quiet corner table in Greenwich Village. She held her coffee with both hands too. Stopped them from shaking. He looked younger than expected, early 30s, with wire-rimmed glasses and an earnest calmness. 3 months ago he began, Vanessa hired a private investigator. The same week Archer introduced you to the public. He slid a manila envelope across the table. Inside were photos. Dozens. Elena walking into her old apartment, working at the Langford Hotel, painting alone in her studio. Not with Archer, not living with him, just existing. She knows everything. Nathan said, your financial status before Archer. It's the exact timing of your relationship. She's going to present this to the board today using Archer of staging a fake romance to manipulate investors. Elena's throat went dry. Why are you telling me this? It's because I've been watching Archer for years. He's one of the only CEOs who's refused to play dirty. He donates quietly. He pays his people well. He fights off corporate vultures, like Vanessa, and he stayed clean. And I've also been watching you, he said, at events. He's talking to artists, charities, assistants. You don't fake empathy like that. You're the greatest actress I've ever seen. Or you actually care. She said nothing. There's more, Nathan added. I spoke to your friend Grace yesterday. Elena's eyes narrowed. You what? She told me you've been in love with Archer since week 2. You're just too stubborn to admit it. She had no right to. She's worried about you. She said you've changed. That you light up when you talk about him, even when you try not to. Lena looked away. It doesn't matter now, she said. Vanessa exposes us, it's over. Archer's reputation will be destroyed. I'll be labeled a fraud. Not necessarily. Nathan said, there's a way to flip this. She turned back slowly. How? Tell the truth. Publicly. Tell the world what really happened, but do it on your terms. Make it your story. Make it a love story. You want me to confess to fraud? I want you to confess to falling in love, he said. A difference. Elena looked down at the table. He'll never forgive me. Archer Blackwell is about to walk into betrayal. Yeah, the kind that could ruin him. Don't you think he deserves to know that someone is willing to fight for him? She thought of Archer's tired eyes last night. The way he'd looked at her like she was the only person who saw him for who he really was. The quiet, unspoken bond growing between them. The way his hand had lingered on hers without cameras watching. If I do this, she said finally, I want to add something. Nathan raised an eyebrow. What? I want to propose to him. For real. Publicly. Blinked. That's either incredibly romantic or completely insane. It's probably both, she said. But if I'm risking everything, it might as well be for the truth. 2 hours later, the headline was already trending. The truth about love. Elena Hartley speaks out on her reel. Relationship with Archer Blackwell, the exclusive interview written by Nathan Cross, was raw, personal, and unapologetically honest. Elena had admitted it, all the fake arrangement, the reasons behind it, the moment it stopped feeling like a lie. She didn't ask for sympathy. She didn't play the victim. She told the truth, her way. She spoke about Archer with reverence and clarity, describing his relentless work ethic, his refusal to bend under boardroom pressure, the way he made people feel seen, even when they expected to be overlooked. She recalled how he supported her art quietly, without asking for anything in return. She ended the interview by saying she didn't know exactly when she fell in love with him, but that she had, completely. And then she added the part Nathan hadn't expected her to go through with. I never believed in fairy tales, the final line read. But I believe in him, so I'm asking the question. First, Archer Blackwell, will you marry me? Within minutes, social media exploded. The article was reposted by major outlets, retweeted by celebrities, hashtagged across platforms. #Elena and Archer, #modern love, #the truth about Blackwell comments. Flooded in, she told the truth and risked everything. This is the most real thing I've seen from the 1% in years. This is fake. I hope I never see anything real again. But the most shocking reaction didn't come from the public. It came from the market. Blackwell Industries stock surged 12% in after-hours trading. Investors responded not to scandal but to sincerity. Back in her studio, Elena paced like she was awaiting a court verdict. She didn't know whether Archer had seen it yet. She had no idea if he'd walked through the door furious, wounded, or were silent. When the elevator opened, she froze. Archer stepped in, still in his tailored suit from the board meeting, its expression unreadable. She tried to speak. "I can explain Victoria's meeting was a disaster," he said, cutting her off. "She walked in, smug and ready to destroy me with evidence of our fake relationship." Elena braced herself. Except he continued. "By the time she opened her mouth, every board member had already read your interview." She blinked. "They had?" She looked like an idiot. "Accused me of deception after you told the entire world the truth." He paused. "You won the room before I stepped inside." Elena's breath caught. "Are you mad?" "I'm furious," he said, taking a step toward her. "Furious that it took a scandal to make you say what you feel." She stepped back, heart pounding. "You meant it?" he asked. "What you said in that interview?" "Every word," she whispered. "Especially the last part." He reached for her, cupping her face with both hands. "You are the most maddening, impulsive, extraordinary woman I've ever met." "So that's a yes?" "I fell in love with you the night you crashed into my life. I've just been too afraid to admit it." He kissed her, hard and honest. "Not for cameras, not for headlines. For them, when they broke apart," she whispered. "So, our arrangement is officially over?" "Definitely," he said, smiling against her lips. "I'm thinking we need a new agreement." "What kind?" "Lifetime contract. No clauses. No terms. Just us." "Archer Blackwell," she said. "You have yourself a deal." 6 months after a champagne tray turned her life upside down, Elena Hartley became Elena Blackwell in a wedding that every magazine in the country wanted to cover. But none of the headlines captured what the day truly meant, not to her, not to Archer. The ceremony was held in the gardens of the Blackwell family estate in Connecticut, beneath a canopy of white roses and golden autumn leaves. The bride wore a gown of her own design, simple silk, hand-stitched details, and a train that shimmered like her canvases under gallery lights. The groom, in a tailored charcoal tuxedo, hadn't stopped smiling since the morning began. Grace, Elena's lifelong best friend, stood beside her as maid of honor. Nathan Cross, now not just a journalist but a friend, covered the wedding for the New York Herald. And even Vanessa Prescott attended, her polished demeanor intact, her defeat quiet, dignified. She'd chosen a seat far from the front, but her presence acknowledged that the war was over and Elena had one. Instead of extravagant showmanship, the wedding was filled with personal touches, paintbrushes tied into the bouquet, handwritten vows, and a cake decorated with tiny golden skyscrapers and pastel art palettes. During his speech, Archer stood before their friends, family, and the board members who once questioned him. "I used to think everything had to be calculated," he said. "That every decision needed strategy, every move precision. Then a woman knocked me off my feet literally and reminded me that the best things in life can't be planned. They can only be discovered when you least expect them." He turned to Elena, eyes soft, voice steady. "She showed me that real strength isn't measured in numbers or power, but in honesty, compassion, and in being willing to love someone who's still learning how to love back." There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. When it was Elena's turn, she didn't read from notes. "I always thought love came after success, after stability, after you'd become someone. But Archer taught me that love is what makes all of that worth chasing in the first place. And that, sometimes, your fairy tale starts with, 'I'm sorry for crashing into you.'" Later, as they danced under hanging lights and violin strings, Elena leaned in close to his chest. "You know," she whispered, "you never technically answered my proposal." He smirked. "I thought kissing you senseless was a yes. I like my answers in writing." He pulled a small folded card from his pocket and handed it to her. In neat familiar script it read, "Yes, always yes. Forever yes." As the music swelled and the night glittered around them, Archer dipped her into a kiss, the cameras flashing not as tools of pressure but celebration, because this time, the world wasn't watching a performance. This time, it was real. 3 months after the wedding, Elena stood barefoot in her art studio. Sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Her hair was twisted into a loose knot, a paintbrush tucked behind one ear. Her hands streaked with cobalt and cream. The gallery exhibit was days away, her first solo show. Every canvas lining the walls carried a piece of the last year, the chaos, the choices, the collision that changed everything. But more than that, each one carried him. She heard the familiar chime of the elevator and turned as Archer stepped inside. Still in a suit, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up, holding 2 iced coffees. "I figured you'd forget to eat again," he said, handing her one. "I did." He kissed her temple, then looked around. "Is this one new?" He nodded to a half-finished piece, an abstract skyline bathed in golden light. "I started it this morning," she said. "It's called After the Fall," he smiled. "You named a painting after how we met." She stepped closer, pressing her hand lightly to his chest. "We didn't fall. We crashed, hard. And we landed." Together, they looked around the studio, a quiet silence between them that no longer needed to be filled. Outside, the world still gossiped. Headlines still popped up. Paparazzi still chased them. But inside these walls, it was just Elena and Archer, 2 people who had turned a lie into the most honest thing they'd ever known. He pulled her into his arms. "Do you ever miss your old life?" "I miss sleeping in," she said, laughing softly. "But no, I wouldn't go back." Kissed her hair. "Neither would I." That night, she uploaded one final painting to the exhibit's digital catalog, a self-portrait. In it, her eyes stared forward, calm and fearless. Behind her, the shape of a man, sharply defined, slightly out of focus, standing exactly where he'd always been, just close enough to catch her if she fell. Beneath the image, she typed one line: "Love doesn't always knock. Sometimes it crashes through the door." And in the home they had built together, Elena Hartley now, Elena Blackwell finally, felt what she had chased for years. Peace. Purpose. Love. Not the kind you plan. The kind you never see coming.